最好是5个星的话呢，到目前为止我觉得是3个星。
I think racial relationships in Singapore now is weird， 很奇怪的状态，因为有些东西你要讲又不是 ，then 又不可以不讲。
Because I think there are still a very small percentage of Singaporeans who are not sensitive enough to the minority races.
每个种族它有什么 culture 什么都是很tolerant，可是它的原理到底为什么有这些习俗，我们都互相都不懂的。
Quite good. The reason I didn't say good is because I think we can do better in terms of understanding, in terms of sensitivity, in terms of ensuring opportunities for people regardless of backgrounds.
Indifferent. Nothing much has changed, although there has been recent cases of, I would say, racial discrimination or injustice. Was I affected? Initially, yes, I was. But I think at the end of the day, I try to always look at the human side as well as to, what made them feel this way, what caused them to suddenly to say these things.
我妈在世的时候，就是邻居们不管我们不看种族啦，我觉得全部都是一视同仁。下雨了，她就去收衣服的时候，她会喊下雨啦，然后她看到旁边，记得旁边是马来同胞，就是乌坚吧，乌坚啊，乌坚，然后faster keep your clothes， 然后印度人他就用英语来说。
我刚刚搬进一个新的家，我的邻居是一户马来家庭，刚好要过年的时候呢，过华人新年的时候，突然间第一天，叮咚，然后我开门的时候，我看到，哇，爸爸妈妈还有他还是有2个男的在家里，就拿一个橘子，还有一些他买了一些pastry 然后跟我们拜年呢。我这个人傻掉。我们从来我长这么大，我没有看过马来人跟我拜年过。
Most of my friends actually are Chinese, right? And I never had any problems with them, but I still do have encounters with 1 or 2, people on 1 or 2 occasions where this comes out, and it still hurts when you are in a group and you are, a minority race, and the rest just break out in Mandarin. Right, without any consideration that you are there. So if I'm close to them, then I'll just ask them outright, hey, look, I don't speak Mandarin, can you explain? But if it's a group that I'm not familiar with, then I'll just keep quiet, and let it pass.
因为我在哈居莲堂上，他们很多马来人嘛，他们也是讲话，突然间讲马来话的时候，他们I don't understand， 他们就忘记了，就会才 convert 回成英文啊，都有。像我们华人有时就是。在那个 setting 的时候，有什么人多有时你就很自然的就会 convert 成你的 mother tongue 啊，所以it happens to both 啊。哈居莲有各种什么人都有，阿拉伯人、马来人、印度人、Indian Muslims 啊，什么还有那些就是刚刚过来新加坡就是 expatriates 也有。那大家都是只要是一个 serve 一个 common 的 purpose，我们都能够做到很多很多不同的活动，也完成了很多很 amazing 的一些 events together。所以我觉得只要是这样，其实是很好的咯，很开心的啦。
I think the most common thing that I hear about a Malay from non-Malays especially is that Malays are lazy. So I was working at a company, a full-time position, and I took some time off, 5 minutes to pray. And when I came back, I heard them. Sometimes people think that Malays don't understand Mandarin, so they speak in Mandarin, and they outrightly say that, see lah, this is the reason why we don't hire Malays in the first place, because they always take breaks. They are very lazy, always take breaks.
现在为什么新加坡种族有问题啊？尤其是比如说华人跟马来人为什么有问题？因为世界也是在改变啊。那么因为中东的回教问题包括邻国的回教等等的问题，也会不知不觉使到新加坡受影响。因为当时 有可能就是生活的进步的问题了。以前的马来同胞跟我们一样嘛，我们也肚子饿，他们也肚子饿，就是找吃而已。那么互相忍让啊，你 OK 我 OK。
I think there have been a lot of like this kind of incidences like coming out on social media, but at the same time, I don't know if I should be participating in such conversations because it feels like they are just calling out and they are not like there to like say, hey, let's have a conversation to understand where you come from, where I come from, where we want to go, and it's not helping in like where we should go forward in terms of racial harmony or even racial tolerance.
我哥哥跟我姐姐，上面4个都是华校生，下面4个是英校生，因为当时也就是社会的改变，他父母亲就觉得说，读英校就比较容易找工作。读华校的找工作比较困难所以我们后面4个就读英校了。
So when I was about 8 or 9, I had to transfer schools, and in this new school there was no Tamil offered. So when I went back and I told my dad, look dad, no, they don't have Tamil class here. He said, then you just take Malay. So those were not some of the pressing issues for parents at that time. It was still a lot about survival. That's how I ended up taking Malay up to O levels. Yeah.
I think there must be a sense of uneasiness, discomfort whenever we change something. I think it's not just the minorities that are facing this way. I think the majority also had a very, very hard time. They were from a Mandarin-speaking background or dialect-speaking. You know, it takes a lot of sacrifice to have to de-emphasize or to focus or to coalesce to the Mandarin language. We are the beneficiary of that system today, and I think the choice of English enabled us to become a powerhouse today, to be able to attract good enterprises, law firms, being able to communicate with the world, and I think that's important, and that is a product of tremendous sacrifice from our forefathers.
我觉得是说，与其从牺牲的角度来看事情，不如从贡献的角度来看事情。可能他们的贡献是在经济方面，可能他的贡献呢就是人与人和谐的相处那一方面，种种方面都有。因为毕竟呢，某一件事情、某一代，不能够说因为一个因素。所以是的，他们有贡献，贡献当然会带来某些牺牲，但是他们的贡献呢，为我们带来了更好的生活。
But I think one thing for sure is that whenever I have friends, overseas friends, right, even without them coming to Singapore, the one thing that I always get 我们听到的就是哇，你们新加坡很厉害，很多不同的 race 在那边住 ，so it's quite a nice thing 很好 that 我们有不同的文化 and you don't say it's a Chinese identity, you don't say it's an Indian or Malay identity, it's a Singaporean, a Singapore identity.
Okay, I think that is a genius thing. I have never heard of it until today. And if that were to really happen, I think that is definitely 5 steps forward for Singapore. I mean, my IC says Ceylonese. What is a typical Ceylonese supposed to look like? Not me, So, gave me a lot of problems for sure. Like, I've ever been asked, like, are you sure you're Ceylonese? Like, are you questioning me or the government or what? Like, come on, man. Like, if I'm Ceylonese, I'm Ceylonese lah. Why would I say anything else?
我们都是新加坡人，而且这个也，如果你只是写 Singaporean， 也减少了很多这个申请工作表格，因为有很多少数民族呢，他们每次就是说我们都没有机会去应征的时候，每次都是被淘汰。
If we are true to our pledge, all right, about regardless of race, language, or religion, then I don't think that you should carry any identification which classifies you into your race. All right, because it should have no bearing on anything, employment, marriage, anything at all, right? So I am definitely for not having this classification into race, because then when are we really going to forge a Singaporean identity?
我们以国家这个词来做分析。如果放 Singaporean 的话 ，Singaporean 就是一个国家的这个身份嘛。我们新加坡有这个不同种族跟文化的交融，形成了一个很多姿多彩、很丰富跟很特别的文化。如果你把这个文化这些不同文化跟不同族群的这个identity 拿掉的话，那我们就失去了根了。
I don't think just because I'm not labeled Chinese, I'm not Chinese anymore. I mean, ultimately, we are Singaporeans, right? Like, no matter where we go, even if like I go to another country, I don't I don't introduce myself, hey, I'm Nana, I'm Chinese. I say, hey, I'm Nana, I'm from Singapore. So why are we labeling ourselves, breaking our society down into smaller parts?
登记呢，如果只放新加坡人，可能我个人我不能够接受，因为我觉得是说种族跟国际呢是两码事。我是一个土生土长的新加坡人，我会因为新加坡人而感到自豪，但是我也是华人，我有华人的文化。我觉得一个人如果没有文化，就好比没有灵魂。我们需要的呢，不是一定要 uniformity， 我们要的呢是 unity。我觉得能够团结在一起呢，比什么都重要。
For me personally, when I look and see my future generation, my children or maybe grandchildren, as long as they don't lose sense of their heritage, understand the cultures that they come from, the language itself can be spoken at home. They can still be able to speak Malay at home well, because the onus is on the parents to take care and make sure that they can speak the Malay language well in their own home. Yeah, so that's my opinion.
第一要和谐，就是要互相忍让，也不要太过计较，也不要太过敏感。就是说，你第一要问为什么这个人会说这句话或者做这样的东西，那么你经过想一下才去反应。第二点呢，就是说不要受影响，就是国际其他的国家或者新加坡邻国所发生的问题。第三点呢，就是说我们应该去了解不同种族的风俗习惯，而且他们更好是能够学习他们的语言。
So my immediate neighbor when I was very young was they were Cantonese. So my brother was very close to the children, and he spent almost the entire day in their house. So as a result, he spoke fluent Cantonese. There was also a lot of respect for each other's culture. There was a lot of intermingling because of the nature of the flats and the neighbors. And I think we had a lot of fun. And this is something I think the young children nowadays miss out on.
My interactions with my Malay friends were in the community center when I volunteered, and a lot of other races that were at the CC. So during that 6 years, I did get my constant share of exposure. I got invited over for Hari Raya. I got to try on their baju kurung, and I get to eat the food that they make. So I think it's those conversations that you try to have to understand their practices, to get a little peek inside their life, that you actually reach a level of true understanding, and that's where the harmony is born.
我们班上以前是次数差不多40个学生嘛，里面可能有15个是马来人，我不懂 what halal mean。Yeah, 我们只是看到 halal, everything halal. What is halal? Yeah, so by asking questions, and of course sometimes the teacher 老师会要求他们去分享讲一个短短的一个课。Okay, Shakir 你出来讲 okay, Shakir you come out and talk about what is Malay, what does halal means, what is Hari Raya, so it's good.
If you don't know something about your fellow Singaporean, just come from a place of heart and come from a place of wanting to learn. So ask them, hey, I'm just curious, why is it that you do this? Yeah, so I think that is definitely much better than if you make assumptions behind a keyboard and try to defend something that you don't even have a clue about.
I think it's about being kind, it's about being understanding, it's about being respectful, it's about, having that consideration for others. And I think that, more and more we are seeing reasonable voices speaking up. And I think that's a good thing. And we need to encourage those reasonable voices to speak up instead of being crowded out by the loud minority that can be quite vociferous in their views.
我以前是讲